What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be the updated guide for PvP rogues in 7.3. In this video I will go over talents and PvP talents, and overall the talent build is the exact same as my 7.2.5 build. I just thought I'd update my thoughts on the spec, and certain opinions I've had have changed slightly. However, that hasn't really caused any talent changes. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Alright, so for your first level 15 talent, Gloomblade is by far the best option. It does similar damage to backstab, but it hits through armor, and the ability to hit through armor is amazing. It actually, even low armor classes like leather and rogues, like rogues, shamans, whatever, they still have like 20 to 35% physical damage reduction just from their armor alone. And so not only does it get rid of the positional requirement for that additional 20% damage from backstab, but it pretty much does the same damage from every angle. In addition to avoiding that armor, it allows you to do much more damage when you're outside of Shadow Dance, which is actually somewhat important to rogues, especially when you're playing comps like RPS, where you're able to, the priest has got so much access to damage at various times that you don't always have Shadow Dance for his burst attempts, and sometimes you just need to go with it, and so Gloomblade really helps that. Master of Subtlety can still be picked. I play this when I do twos with like double rogue, or if I'm against like mage rogue, sometimes I'll use Master of Subtlety because Gloomblade doesn't matter that much. But for the most part, just pick Gloomblade every single match. For the level 30 talent row, I prefer to go with Subterfuge. It just works in conjunction with Thief's Bargain, which is one of our honor talents, very, very well. And it allows us to get stronger openers, allows us to peel better for our teammates, and in addition to that, it just increases the duration of Shadow Dance, which also improves our burst rotation by a second. And so for the next talent row here, the level 45 row, Vigor is the best option. I use it pretty much every game now. I don't really use Deeper Stratagem anymore, as I don't believe it's required to have the the additional extra burst. Having Vigor and the ability to spam more feint and just keep yourself alive better, in addition to having longer, or rather you kind of gain the burst back from Vigor, because with Deeper Stratagem your energy kind of bottoms out in certain situations, not when you have access to Gormaw's Bite, but anytime you burst without Gormaw's, Vigor is just much better than Deeper Stratagem. Moving on to the level 60 talent row, Elusiveness I believe is the best option. You should use it in like 90% of games. However, there are some scenarios when Soothing Darkness is actually really good. Now, it does have reduced effect in PvP. It only heals you for 1% of your maximum health every 1 second. But in those situations where you're able to sit out in stealth and just wait for another setup, like if you're playing with a mage or another class that can kite and disengage and reset the fight, Soothing Darkness can be very useful. Now, I only use this in the 2v2 arena for the most part. In threes, you should never touch Soothing Darkness, unless, of course, you were cheesing around with some like triple DPS or something where you're not going to have access to a lot of heals. For the level 75 talent row, I would go with Prey on the Weak every single game. The other two options aren't really necessary. The fact that we have Shiv now as an honor talent really kind of covers up any need for Tangled Shadow or Strike from the Shadows. Prey on the Weak increases our burst damage during stuns, and overall it's what we're going for as a Subtlety rogue. We want those burst setups. We want to be able to help people do more damage. It's just a good option. You should take it every game. The level 90 talent row, the only option I believe that is amazing here is Dark Shadows, and it just allows us to do 25% more damage during Shadow Dance in PvP situations. It doesn't currently say 25% because we are not in a PvP situation, but it is slightly reduced in PvP. But that being said, it is still amazing. You want this almost every single game, and by almost, I mean every single game. You don't need these other two. Don't even look at those. They don't matter. Level 100 talent row, Mark for Death. I used to think that all three options could be played. I'm pretty sure Mark for Death is the only thing that you want to use. The ability to start against some targets with Kidney Shot from stealth, like Mark for Death Kidney, is very, very valuable. And because of that, I would never touch Master of Shadows or Death from Above in arena PvP scenarios. They're all decent in battleground scenarios. However, for the most part, just stick with Mark for Death. You're going to have the most fun. I think it's the best ability to use. And that being said, let's move straight on to these honor talents. Alright, so these are the honor talents I use pretty much every game in every situation. And for the first row, you are going to want Gladiator's Medallion. It lowers the cooldown of our medallion to 2 minutes from the original 3, and I believe it is the best option overall. It gives you the most consistent method of getting out of CC. The only other option here is Relentless if you are an Orc and you stack it with the Orc stun reduction racial, and in which case that makes stuns a very short duration on you, and it's actually really powerful. But other than that, you should always use Gladiator's Medallion. It's just the best option. For the next row, I use Reinforced Armor pretty much every game, unless I'm playing like 2s and I'm against Warrior, or I guess in 3s if you're against, say, 2 physical, very strong physical dealing or damage dealing classes. Sparring is very good. Hardiness is not very good for rogues, I feel. It's good for other classes, but for the most part, just use Reinforced Armor. For the next row, Shiv is by far the best option. Shiv has grown on me, and I like it even better than I did in the previous video. I did use maneuverability sometimes, but now I don't even bother touching it. I use Shiv literally 100% of the games, and I strongly recommend it to anybody. The fact that it can't be block dodged or parried is really good, and it just makes the slow really consistent, and it has a pretty good uptime given that it only has a 10-second cooldown, and it doesn't cost us any energy to use, which is pretty nice. In the next talent row, I pretty much use Smoke Bomb every single game. There's some situations in 2s if I'm playing Mage Rogue where Thieves Gambit is pretty decent. You can throw Crimson Vial to your Mage and it will give him a little bit of a heal, and it can help you live for another reset and another chance to kill the target. But for the most part, I find Smoke Bomb easier to use and just overall more consistent, and it's more realistic. Thieves Gambit definitely has its issues, and the fact that it's only within 20 yards makes it a little bit hard to manage, I feel. But Smoke Bomb don't fail me. I love that shit. It's good. The next following talent row, the only option you should use is Cold Blood. Cold Blood is amazing. It does 10% of the target's health and shadow damage. I think PvP is only 8%. But the strength of this talent is that if someone pops a defensive ability like Shield Wall or Dispersion, if the priest has, say, like the 90% talent Dispersion and you use Cold Blood, it will still do the 10% health through Disperse, and it's just amazing. Like the fact that if they disperse late and you just Cold Blood and hit them, they can just be killed just like that. I've gotten plenty of situations where this has happened, and I've scored a lot of kills when the target could have lived. Obviously, they were making a mistake using a defensive cooldown that late, but still, you can definitely steal some games with Cold Blood. It's amazing. It adds to our burst, and I highly recommend it. And for the last talent row, you should use Thief's Bargain. Thief's Bargain is the only option I believe in this row. Phantom Assassin can be fun in Battlegrounds. However, the lower cooldown from Thief's Bargain on Vanish is just way better. However, in 7.3, Thief's Bargain did receive a nerf. It now only lowers our Vanish by 45 seconds instead of a minute. But it is far strong enough to still use. The fact that we gain damage outside of our Shadow Dance still is amazing. It's really good for comps with RPS where you may not always have access to a dance and you just want to get out some quick burst and help your priest kill that target. Anyway, that's going to do it for this quick honor guide. I hope that you guys found this informative. Nothing talent-wise has really changed since 7.25. I just know some of you may have missed that video from me and have maybe been looking for some talents for Rogue, for PvP. And these talents are definitely the way to go. I hope that they help you kill some people in PvP and have a good time. Anyway, I'm going to be streaming this afternoon, so hope some of you can come check that out. And I will see you all again very soon.